I am not interested in your strong opinions. Is that a strong opinion? Well, let's find out.
If, as a developer, you're active on social media, and who isn't, I guess, you'll encounter a lot of strong opinions there. Well, I guess that's not just the case as a developer, but in general, that's the thing about social media. But
the general, like, I hear where he's going, but my general problem with this whole, like, strong opinions thing is nobody cares about the milquetoast opinion, right? Like, nobody is going to talk to you, give you an alternative stance, or do anything if you just go like this. Yeah, TypeScript could be good sometimes, and sometimes I find TypeScript to be bad sometimes. Overall, I'd use it some of the times. Nobody is going to care at all about what you're saying, right? It just doesn't, it doesn't have, there's nothing to it, right? You're just like, oh, okay, cool, I guess. Like, you know, and this is an outrageous take. I disagree, right? Exactly. Like, it doesn't, there's nothing to it. And that's one of the problems about this, is that we fundamentally as humans prefer to, like, we interact with the things we really like and we really disagree with, not the things that we're just like, yeah, okay. Okay.
But in this episode, I want to take a look at the developer world on social media and the strong opinion.
What are the chances I'm going to get mentioned on this one? I feel like I don't toss out that many strong opinions on the old Twitter, okay? I feel like my primary mode of operation is just posting some just crazy nonsense copy pasta from the stream and or memes, and rarely like the strong opinions, okay? I'm just not really into the whole strong opinions side of things, okay? Hold your mustache and let the guy cook. We're going to let the guy cook. Appearing in the top 10 most L takes. Here it comes.
Opinions you will encounter there. For example, if you're in the web development JavaScript space, as I mostly am, you'll learn that let is better than const, or the opposite, of course, that observable.
By the way, that let versus const debate was just crazy. I am shocked that people spent that much time on something that doesn't really matter. It's like, hey, yo, it's already broken. It's been broken. Why you gotta care? You know, it's been broken for like literally 10 years. What are you gonna do? Complain about it? It just is what it is. You're attempting to deliver meaning on your attempt here, and that's that.
Observables and RxJS are the way to go when working with Angular and you're borderline stupid, or at least a bad developer if you're not using it that much. And of course, there are endless discussions about React versus Angular, why both are stupid, and so on. Now, of course, I'm exaggerating here. I am on X and on social media in general because there also is lots of useful content to be found there, and there definitely also are useful, balanced conversations, but
Is there really? I mean, I rarely find much for strong, useful stuff. I mean, the reason why I use X is to understand the general sentiment that can be found on X, and that is it. I don't actually go for it other than sentiment analysis and understanding what people are thinking today in the web world. Because, I mean, first off, X isn't even a good representation of just general developers. I would argue that most developers are not on X. I think in 5 years, it will be different. I think in 5 years, a majority of developers will be more active on the social media. But as of right now, I do not think that's the case. I don't think there's stuff on there. It's good to get some attention, right? Like, I find that X is really cool if there's like an article that goes viral and you're like, that's actually pretty cool. They put Doom on, you know, on this delicious whatever, and you're just like, that's awesome. But that's it. I'm not on X. Yeah, a lot of people are not on X. I just troll Prime on X. Yeah, that's a fine thing. X take, yeah. In 5 years, only ChatGPT will be shitposting on social media. It's already seeming like that as it is. Doom on a Pop-Tart. Cool. Yeah, exactly. This is a series of Pop-Tarts produced with Doom scenes. By the way, Pop-Tart, that is an incredible thing to consider. The Doom on a Pop-Tart. Oh my goodness. Just think about it. Just think about it for a second.
Probably get my point, and chances are high that you saw or encountered exactly what I was just referring to.
Yeah.
And here's my honest opinion on that. That is so extremely stupid.
Strong opinion found. Let's go. I agree with the strong opinion, but nonetheless, strong opinion found.
Seriously. don't you guys, if you're joining such discussions, don't you have anything better to do? Who are you helping with sharing strong opinions like that? You prefer const over let or let over const because const doesn't make sense in JavaScript because objects and arrays that are stored as const are still mutatable. Yeah, who cares? Nobody cares. Please go ahead. Use let, don't use const. It's fine. Awesome. You don't need to convince anyone. And the same is.
By the way, that is awesome. I like that. I'm liking this take. Okay. There you go. It's just like, dude, it's already built. It's already baked into the cake. What are you going to be upset about? Why do you got an opinion about something that's baked into the cake? That's like being up, like, you see this every now and then, be like, yeah, JavaScript sucks, 0.1 plus 0.2, ha, got him. And you're just like, yo, dog, that's IEEE, but dog, that's baked into, that's just baked into the cake, dog. It just works that way because it works that way. What do you want, buddy? What do you want with floating point numbers? It just is.
It's true for most of these other discussions. You prefer React over Angular, you prefer Remix over Next, you prefer vanilla JavaScript over React. Awesome.
I don't get that last comparison, but we'll keep going.
Use it. Feel free to share why that's the case, but why do you need to convince others? Can't you use it without doing that?
So I don't like this take. I think you should try to express why you think things are good or bad. I think there's a lot of benefit in doing that. It makes you really good at, because the thing is that when you're at your job, you're going to inevitably have these exact same discussions. And it's a great place to be able to think through and reason about being able to say why you think one thing is better than the other. And you're going to hear a lot of arguments for why you are wrong. And you can internalize those arguments. You can take them and you can kind of chew over them and actually think about why that is or is not the case. And if it is not the case, well, guess what? Good news. You can go, okay, this is not a good argument. I know that I'm good. I'm very, very happy about it. We can move on. Or you can go, oh, I need to reformulate or rethink about why I think this is true or false. And you can become a better arguer for the things you actually want. He did say to explain why. I know, but he also said you just don't have to. But why do you need to convince people?
Why do you need to convince others?
Like, that's the part of persuasion. Like, that's your job. You're going to literally have a job, unless if you're working by yourself, where you're going to be in a continuous thing of trying to convince people of why we should go in this direction. That's software in a nutshell. And being able to have some reasonable take why some priority is better than the other, it's a very important skill to have.
Can't you use it without doing that? That's really the part I don't get. And yeah, I'm ranting here. I could ignore it as well. I'm aware of that. And for most parts I do. But I thought, hey, why don't I create a video and podcast episode about it? Because also, frankly, I'm interested in understanding what you think about that. Am I alone? Am I the only one who's annoyed by this?
I am personally annoyed by really trivial ones. I mean, I think it's fun saying Vim is the best because you just watch people explode. They just die over it. It's like a perennial funny thing to say. Oh my goodness. I just love it. I like watching people just get completely torn up about something that's insignificant. But const versus let and actually having a real discussion why one is better than the other. It's just yo, dog, this, unless if this has been one giant ploy to see people get triggered, which it could be, and then, hey, you know what? You're a master of Twitter warfare, and then I am on your team for that one. That's hilarious. But the reality is they're not. They're just actually strong opinion discussions on why one is better than the other. Max is just playing 40 chest. Yeah, if he's just playing 40 chest, then I'm in for it. That's hilarious. I disagree. I don't think you need to convince anyone and make a well-reasoned argument. Then let them decide. That's literally what convincing is. Goatmeal. That is the art of persuasion. Precisely. If you don't need to convince anybody, then you will not make a well-reasoned argument or an unreasonable argument. You will make no argument. You will not tweet about it at all. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's the whole point, is that you're always trying to convince, people are always trying to convince you of something. Everyone is trying to sell you something. That's why I love that Princess and the Bride, or the Princess Bride, oh my goodness, why am I saying that wrong? The Princess Bride. I don't know why I got so confused there. I like Princess and the Bride. The Princess Bride's statement, which is, if someone's telling you there's no pain, then they're either lying to you or trying to sell you something. I love that. That is like one of the greatest lines ever. When people are trying to tell you why this thing exists and why this new version is going to be the greatest thing ever and the previous version was filled with pain, it's because they're selling you something. This is the whole point. This is what all the selling is for. Let's see, you're missing the point. If you have to discuss something, you will do inside your team and not on social media with clickbait titles like your friend Theo does. Talking with people IRL is not the same as posting that. Yeah, but I don't think that's fair at all. I do not think that's fair at all. First off, no need to drag Theo around. I don't think that's a very nice thing to do, Knox. Okay, buddy guy. Theo has plenty of not clickbaity threads. Second off, discussing things on X, there's plenty of people that do try to discuss things. It is an art that you should try to get good at. You should understand what makes things go, right? Like you really should. Like this is a very important skill to have, because if you use one phrase and nobody listens to you, and you use a different phrase and people listen to you, you don't think that will be equally useful in your job to understand why people engage or don't engage with an argument? Like there's a whole skill there. Like you should know how to do that. It's important to speak with people who don't work for you. It helps calibrate yourself. Exactly. Like there's an entire thing there that's really, really important. Twitter is a free place you can practice your convincing skills. In your job, the judgment has consequences. Exactly. And you can also say things and see how people don't like. Here's the deal: is like you could say some things and find out that you're massively like you're missing huge gaps. Like I do this all the time. I'll say something about Git, especially like rebase, and people will be like, "Oh, rebase is the worst. It makes you resolve conflicts over and over again." And then you respond, "Yeah, if only there was a way that we could automatically reuse resolved resolutions." I think. Wait, am I correct on that? Reuse, whatever. I forget what re stands for. And I'll just use the exact phrase because it's hilarious. You get to watch people get triggered and their own knowledge doesn't show through. And you can see that people argue without even having all the information. And then you get to understand more of why when you say something, you have to say it with more convincing skills. Right? Because now when I say use rebase, I will explain it differently. I just won't say, oh yeah, use rebase. It's better, because they'll be like, oh, I don't, but it's terrible. It makes you have all these conflicts. Like I know the question people will have. So instead I can be like, rebase can be really, really good. And if you ever find yourself falling into these situations, don't forget that you need to use re, because re could be very, very useful, right? Like you can already start off arguing against things that people are going to have. It's really nice. Opinion-based discussions cannot be won with facts. That is not true. Opinions can be changed. I do not believe in strong opinions weakly held. I do not believe in that. I think you should have strong opinions strongly held, but you should be willing to reconsider and think through everything. I hold on to my opinions strongly. I do. Okay? I do, because I think they're right. But if someone can actually give me a compelling argument, I will think through it and I will try to like reason through it. But it requires wisdom, and yeah, of course. But that's what you do. That's what you gotta do.
Well, I might be. And of course, I am fully aware that that's simply how social media works. So ultimately, that's probably the goal of those people who are sharing those strong opinions on social media. And I'm falling into their trap. I'm aware of this, but still, it is super annoying.
If you're falling into it, then it's working, right? Like that's the point, is for you to argue your point of view. I simply do not get owned by the let versus const one. That was just too ridiculous. Sometimes I feel like people are arguing the most trivial things and I just walk away. Traps can be good. It also teaches you a lot about yourself. It teaches you how you react to things. I actually really like knowing when I get triggered, because when I get triggered, it helps me like laugh at myself and go, wait a second. Okay, I know like a new point that gets me tricked. Now I have that in my arsenal not to get bamboozled, right?
Annoying. I get it. You need attention. You get attention. You don't get that much attention if you have like balanced views and fair discussion.
I love it when you get triggered by communism. Don't do it, my friend. Very, very fair. Very, very fair. Hold on, I want to re-say, because let's see. So this, you need attention, you get attention. It's kind of a weird thing, is that
attention. You don't get that much attention if you have like.
But everyone that's replying is also fighting for quote unquote attention. So I'm not sure if it's really attention. People just like stating their opinions. Like that's just a fact of life. I've never met someone that doesn't state their opinions. you know?
like balanced views and fair discussions. Nobody's interested in that. I get that point, but still, please reflect on your behavior. Is there no other way you can sell your stuff or get other people to engage with you? Is that the only way you can do it? It's not that great, in my opinion.
I will say this one, if you only do strong opinions and you only do these kind of like really one-dimensional arguments, it does work. It most certainly works for people to want to engage with you. But I'll tell you a bigger secret here. The more you do it, the more people quit looking at you. Like, think about all of those tweets 2 years ago. As a developer, fill in the blank, right? Like, all of those quote-unquote tech influencers have they're all these people with like 100,000 followers, and they get like 10 likes now because they've just all destroyed their account and their credibility. Because you can't do that, right? Like, that kind of stuff, it just doesn't work. You destroy yourself. Right. And so these kind of like these really engagement baiting type tweeting, it does not work long term. It's not a long term strategy. The thing is that the truest form of long term strategy, if you want the best one, the best possible way to engage with people, it is simple. Memes. Just make dumb memes. Like, that's it. Just say stupid stuff on the internet and it's funny. And then every now and then you can have a strong opinion. And it works. Because then when you have a strong opinion, it's worth engaging with, because the 10 before that were just dumb memes about Dax destroying Vercel. And it's funny, because it's funny to watch Dax destroy Vercel.
Because here's the thing, all
People
these
just want their
strong
cheese grilled.
opinions can be super intimidating for less experienced developers. Developers who don't have that much knowledge and experience. Because, of course, if you basically get the feeling that everything's wrong, that you can't get anything right, that's not that good. That can get you to leave that world of development because, well, in a world where everything's wrong, nothing's right, of course. And you can get...
By the way, that is programming. I hope you know. Programming is the art of failing. Like, that's it. That's it. Programming is the art of failing. It's like playing Tetris. You don't play Tetris to win the game of Tetris. Okay, yeah, I know there's that one guy that beat the Nintendo thing. That's rare. But the rest of us program, and it's just slowly about to turn into something that's unmaintainable to the point after a few years you're going to have to redo it. You lose the game. You lose the game eventually. And that's that. And so, like, this idea that there's a right choice. There's not a right choice. This is why a person can write a roller coaster in Excel. It's because you can. That's it. You simply can. Y'all are mid. That's it. Y'all are mid. I just lost the game. Now I'm rethinking. I'm trying not to think about the game. I refuse to think about it. I'm just not allowing myself to play that game anymore.
That feeling.
By the way, Twitch plays ASCII Tetris. That might be my next one. It's either that or Tower Defense. I'm not sure which one. We're almost done with this Doom one. I'm gonna transfer it down to the web, and we're gonna play it, and I'm gonna make it slightly nicer colors. I'm gonna go to 16-bit color, do a couple things, bada bing, bada boom, and just make it done. You know what I mean?
If you encounter too many of those conversations and opinions that
I do want to be real for 1 second. As we all remember our junior developer days. Do you remember that? Do you remember the developer that was the very big senior or staff level engineer? That person came in and could argue like Twitter, right? Came in with these really strong statements of why you're exactly wrong and why they are exactly right. And you just simply got cowed into falling into line because you had no ability to argue. You had no ability to be able to think for yourself. You had no ability to actually even take your opinions because you heard this opinion. You knew something was wrong. You just didn't know how to express it because you simply didn't have the same amount of time they do thinking about this specific problem. And so you just simply get cowed. Like, I have seen this happen over and over and over again. It's not like this is somehow a Twitter-only problem. This happens everywhere. It's just that when you're in person, they just have more words they can say to you. And when someone has more words, it's only harder to refute it. Like, that's it. It's only harder. It doesn't become easier. It's easy on Twitter because it's super one-dimensional because they got like 200 characters to like try to deliver the same thing. Whereas, like, when you go to work, I mean, I cannot tell you how many times I had 4-hour arguments over whether or not we should have variadic parameters or just take in an array. Think about that. Crazy, right? Like, that's so much time. So who won? I lost. We did variadic parameters, okay?
That are being shared here. And of course, there also are good discussions. That's not the point. There also are best practices or patterns that are worth knowing about and that are
best practices. What's the problem with that statement? The best practices are almost largely and completely going to be opinion-based ones. Should you have a function that's 4 lines long, 6 lines long, 10 lines long, 12 lines long? Is it okay to have more than one thing a function does if it's at a certain spot in that program? Maybe, maybe not. Depends, you got to kind of see things. Should you always write all your code so it can be highly testable, or sometimes do you just simply take experiences or exceptions to the rules? How often do you need to do inversion of control? How often should you be prepared for dependency injection? Should you start off writing integration tests or should you not? Like, where do you draw this line? How do you do this? Should you write your test first or should you write your code first? Right? All of these best practices, they're fucking opinions. That's what makes it so hard, is that everything we do is an opinion, and it's an act of attempting not to simply fail as fast.
Are worth exploring. And of course,
except of course the strategy pattern. Strategy pattern being the only pattern that's actually truly worth it in the end of the days.
There also are some bad or annoying parts about React or Angular or any other technology or concept that you might want to share with others, also to learn how they think about it, or also to maybe warn others of doing something in a wrong way or repeating a mistake you made. That might all be reasons for sharing your thoughts on a certain technology or on a certain concept and so on. But of course, there simply also are different ways of sharing an opinion.
By the way, I don't disagree with any of the previous things you just said. I think those are all good ways to share stuff, right? I think those are all good ideas on ways to share things. But a lot of the stuff that he just said are also opinions, and they can be very strong. Like ways you think React does things poor. Some people look at that and think, no, you're just doing it wrong. It's actually really good. Right? There's plenty of people that think use effect is great. There's plenty of people that think use effect is terrible. There's plenty of people that think React rendering twice is good. They just think that's good. They're like, oh, this is a good thing. It helps me write my code this way.
Or of sharing your thoughts on something. You can always share stuff in a way that's not necessarily offensive for other people, but you can also frame your statements such and word them such that it's pretty clear that if you have a different opinion than you who shared it, you're wrong. And that is the toxic part, the annoying part, which I'm honestly not a fan of. And
generally, I agree with that. I generally agree with that. But here's the inverse of it. If you truly think writing software is different, and in your vast experience, you truly believe that the difference in this is, in fact, actually really, really bad, then wouldn't you be intense about it? It's so difficult, right? Like, if I think clean code is genuinely the worst way to write software, and I say this is the worst way to write software, I am, in fact, saying that if you write software this way, it is wrong, right? So it's like hard. Like, when is it wrong to have a strong opinion in that kind of way?
As I mentioned, I am aware that's how the internet and social media works these days. That is how you get attention and how you can sell your stuff. I really only hope that we'll get past that point at some point in the future, hopefully soon, because it is annoying and you're honestly not helping anyone.
But okay, so you say articulate the reason why and all this. This is but Twitter and social media is not the right form for that type of communication. You just got to understand, like, here's a good example. Have you ever had a problem that needs a lot of describing? And so what do? You go on Slack and you write out this very long exact statement for everything that's going wrong, and boom, you hit send. And the entire screen gets filled up from top to bottom with your words. And then you have a meeting about it. And then you find out that every last person who has looked at your Slack message did not read it. They saw all the words, glazed over, and just said, we'll figure it out in the meeting. Why? Because you used the wrong form of communication for that medium. That's just not how it works. What you should have done is simply have a nice little Google Doc write up the exact same set of things, and then just put a link in here saying, hey, this is what happens. You should check out the exact write-up right here. And guess what? It works because the people that will engage with it are prepared to engage with that form of writing, with that form of communication. And so you just got to understand like the thing that you're trying to communicate through. I think it's very, very important to just know that. And so you like if you're going to have a really thoughtful and long discussion, you have to save it for a different medium. It has to be the medium in which people are engaged for that. So it's like Twitter, you got to realize you got 10 words. You truly have about 10 to 15 words to capture someone's attention, right? You just got to read the room. And so I know that I got 7 to 10 words. So I'm going to say something like, I do not like using JavaScript on the server. Do I need to give all the reasons why that could be incorrect? Do I need to go and give you an exact breakdown and preface every last statement? No, I don't. I don't have to do all that. I can give you the exact opinion of mine to the T. That's it, because I'm using the proper communication. And then, you know what I can do is I can have a video, or I can have a blog post, or I can talk about it like I talk about right here and give you a more long reason why I think they're good or bad. So for me, so you say it's just an opinion. The shorter it is, the less I'm inclined to listen to it. Not me. I'll listen to any opinion. I like to hear opinions. I don't care how big or small they are, because here's the deal. Like one of my favorite tweeters, DHH, he goes out and says these really strong opinions. But you know what I do? I form a basic cloud of what he is, and then I'll go and read a few of his blog posts. And then I go, oh, I like those blog posts. Or I'll go, oh, I did not like that one. Why? Because I'm able to I simply start drawing a box around what a person thinks. And it makes me always ask why. When someone says, I do not like using TypeScript, I think it is ugly. That is a very one-dimensional small thing, but it makes me think, why would they think it's ugly? Can I walk through that thought process? How do they adopt it? Right? Because that seems like really, really crazy. And then you learn different ways in which people think. Like, I'm okay with short ones. Just consider communism. Did and no. Thank you very much. But like, you get the idea. Just take, I enjoy the shorter bites because it can make me think about something for a little bit before I respond. The problem that I'm seeing here is just when something is terse, people also absorb it and look at it as if it were a meme. Thank you, Pick. I do love your video. I did watch it. But I mean, I think that's what it is. When someone reads something that's super terse, they read it with like ill intent behind it. And I don't necessarily agree that things, just because it's terse, doesn't mean it's ill-willed. I think it's just to the point. Now, there are, of course, if you say, hey, you're an idiot if you don't use TypeScript, well, the nice part is you get to know more about the person. And if someone says that, you can go, oh, I can discount their opinion now. Boom. Right? Like, that's it. That's all you got to do. Nice capital H, Nightshade, dude. Also very funny that the Twitter reading does not allow capital H. Is that true? I thought it was all capitals technically. Anyways, I'm just saying it's funny. I don't know. I like it. I like seeing those things because it helps me draw opinions about people. You can be curt with me, Brian. Thank you. I will. I like those things. I personally like them.
With behaviors like that. So, yeah, sorry about that rant. I'm super interested in learning if it's just me. I'm interested in learning what you think about opinions or discussions like that. You can give me your opinion now on why I'm wrong and why I shouldn't freak out about stuff like that. Please do. Please let me know what you think about that, what I forgot or what I'm not seeing here. And yeah, with that, I hopefully see you back in future episodes.
I like that. That was great. Thumbs up. I'll give you a subscribe. That was a great video, dude. I'm giving him all of the algorithmic signals, knowing that it helps the algorithm tremendously, all those things. That was a great video, and I think people should see it and think about it. I love differing opinions, but some people can't take it. I know, it's crazy. Some people just get mad. Watch Pick's presentation now. I refuse to. I agree with others, Brian. You really should contest your opinion about communism. This is a very insightful video. I refuse to look at it because it has music. I've already seen it. It's all the different countries that have successfully done communism, and then the presentation ends. Okay, I've already seen it. I laughed. I lolled. I rolled on the ground, rolling on the floor, laughing. Okay, I rafflecoptered. Okay, it was crazy. Is rafflecopter where you like swing your dick in circles? Is that what that is? I could never tell. Flip, keep it in. The name is the Primogen. Oh, no.